it relates to water pressure, we actually have two entities within the organization to try to complete an assessment. My group, we actually handle low water pressure as it relates to a physical address. There is my colleagues on the underground infrastructure side, they handle triaging or assessing the low water pressure for an entire street. And so this evening, I have two of my on-call personnel going out specifically to 3237 and 3247. My initial understanding of the request last Thursday, it pertained to the entire street of Sabre Run. And so I did not get involved at that time because of where I understood it, it was addressing the entire street. However, after speaking with the property owner this evening, of 3237, I have someone going out there for that location. So my team will indeed leave the assessment for the actual property owner for 3237 and 3247. If it turns out that there are more homeowners on the street that is without water pressure, then that will require me to handing it off to our underground infrastructure team to check the entire 8-inch water main that is running throughout the neighborhood. The map that I have shown up on display, it shows the water supply line that is going throughout that community. And based upon the diameter, it is sufficient enough to supply enough water through that entire community.
Hello? Did we lose you, Mr. Gaines?
No, I've been here speaking. I've been speaking the whole time. So did y'all hear my, I'm sorry?
It muted for a moment.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you all hear my response to the initial question?
If you could repeat it, Mr. Gaines, that would be great because you muted for a little bit.
Okay, all right. So Benjamin Gaines, I'm the director on the field services side. My team, we respond to the actual meters as relates to the performance and the maintenance of those meters. My team is also, we are responsible for installing for new construction for residential and commercial. I also would like to say that I recently spoke with the homeowners for 3237. I spoke with them this evening about 45 minutes ago, and I actually have someone en route to that homeowner's location now. I was also mentioning the initial report that I received on last Thursday. It was my understanding that the concern was for the entire street Sabre Run Road. And that part falls outside of my purview. So I actually included the senior leader on the underground infrastructure side of that email, of that communication last Thursday, because the way I understood it, the initial concern did not fall underneath my team's purview. However, in preparation for this meeting here, I saw that there was an exact address. And so I have someone going out to check the address of 3237 and 3247. However, I would like to say, if there are other homeowners on that same road that are experiencing low pressure, then that will just let me know, and that will prompt me to solicit the help of my underground team so that they can check the entire water main that is providing water through that community.
Awesome, Mr. Gaines. I thank you so much for that detailed explanation. And I'm going to leave it. Does anyone have any questions as to it relates to the process for Mr. Gaines? Well, Mr. Gaines, when they say that there are no questions, they said you just did an exemplary job of explaining, as everybody got it.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. As always, the city of Atlanta, we want to make sure that we provide high quality service, making sure that we provide clean, safe drinking water at all times. And so if there's any concern about a low pressure, that is a priority of ours. And I will defer to Dan's. I think Dan's hand is up.
Thank you. I live on Feldwood Road, and I have plastic pipes that come from the street to my house. My whole house has plastic pipes, and I put in 2 water filters that come off of the pipe that comes off of the street, and they are so full of rust every month. It's unbelievable that this water could possibly be safe to drink. I've called several times, and the city has just said there's nothing that they're going to do about it. Is there some way that they could test it to see? Because this doesn't seem right to me. I used to live downtown, and I had filters on my water as well, and they never turned this color so fast. They never even turned a color.
Thank you for that question. You said some key things. You made some key statements that are triggers for me. As you spoke about plastic, to be transparent, plastic is no longer being utilized. It should be the copper or a different type of a water supply from the meter to your home. And so that may contribute to mud or dirt entering into your plastic line. As relates to a physical test, by all means, you can call out ATL 311, submit a request, and ask for the water to be tested as it is entering the water meter. We actually do have a team within our clean drinking water entity, and they go out and perform a chlorine test on the property based upon requests. So yes, there is a way to get your answer, but I think there may be some other issues for you to look into with you stating there's a plastic line from the meter to the home. Plastic lines really should not be used.
They're all CPVC, so that's kind of what they use nowadays. And then you have PEX as well.
Yes.
It's all plastic
Yes.
material, but it's rust in the water. I can clearly see it when I look at the filter. So I'll just call the 311 number and have them come out to conduct a test to see what the issue is.
Yes, and one of the homeowner at 3237 also informed me that there is a lot of blasting and demolition going on behind the neighborhood. Now that may contribute to it, but we will respond to the request, and that may contribute to the discoloration with the water.
So, Mr. Gaines, if I heard you correctly just now, say that the blasting from the rock quarry that's been around can contribute to sediment being in the water or drinking water?
Allow me to explain. If there is blasting going on and someone has an actual a leak on the internal line, yes, some mud and debris from that blasting could find its way. However, without me physically having firsthand eyesight of the blasting, let me say it this way. The city of Atlanta, our underground 8-inch water main are secure and protected from any intrusion. Now that we cannot protect any homeowners internal, their property water line that may have a breakage on their property's water line. But you can rest for sure, the city of Atlanta's underground water main system is not being infiltrated by any demolition or any blasting at all.
Okay, awesome. And just say, for the sake of argument, that blasting is a contributor to sediment in the water, drinking water for some constituents. If that is to be the case, does that rock quarry hold some responsibility as corrective action measures to be taken?
I'm not in any position to answer that question.
Okay.
The City of Atlanta Department of Law will be the responsible party to answer that. If it got to the point where the assessment concluded that our underground system has been infiltrated, that is at the conclusion of that analysis. At this point, I have no reason to believe that our underground infrastructure has been infiltrated.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. It has not been compromised. Absolutely, sir. Okay, thank you. Is
You're
there
quite
any
welcome.
more questions?
My name is Elsa Erlington. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, my question is a quick one. So who monitors that?
I'm sorry, who monitors? Please repeat the questions.
Who monitors our water line against the quarry and the blasting? Who monitors that?
Okay, good deal. So we actually have an actual a team within our engineering services division that keeps track of the pressure of water that is that is leaving our different treatment facilities. Anytime there's a reduction in the water pressure, it prompts a response from one of my colleagues' group to respond to it. So yes, we do have an internal team that frequently monitors the pressure that is leaving our various water treatment facilities. We actually have a team that's monitoring that 24 hours a day.
Okay, and thank God, I live on Sabre Run Road. I've been living here for 18 years. And I thank God that I ain't had any issues with any water pressures or anything. Should in the future that does change, who do I contact with such concern?
Sure. It is our ATL 311 number. They triage all of Watershed inquiries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with a question?
Hi, this is Wanda in Red Oak Woods subdivision. A house that's currently vacant, and Sheila is on here as well. And we've reported, well, actually she did report that there's a leak. And Watershed has came out here twice, but nothing has actually been done to actually fix the leak. What do we do at that point if someone, if they've been out here twice, it's clear that they have all agreed that there's a leak somewhere, but it has not been addressed, then what's the next step that we would need to do?
Sure. There are several components to that. Without me actually having access to the field assessment, if our team went out and completed their assessment, and they confirmed that the leak was the city of Atlanta's responsibility. We have a duty to make those repairs expeditiously. However, I must say to you, a large number of our leak requests or our leak inquiries, our assessment reveals that the leak is on the opposite end of the city's responsibility. To clarify, the city's responsibility ends right at the meter box. If there's a line that is outside of the meter box that is feeding to the home, if the leak is after the meter, that leak is the responsibility of the property owner. So that's the other part I wanted to share that may explain the delay in that leak being repaired. So without me having full knowledge of the assessment of that leak inquiry, if our assessment reveals that the leak is on watershed ends, we have a responsibility to make those. So the homeowner of the property that you're referencing, I would merely ask that you would just pass the message along to that homeowner to call our ATL 311, and they and ask for the results of that leak request inquiry, whatever date that was, and the ATL 311 representative will be able to share our findings.
Okay, the leak is right around where the fire hydrant is. So where does that respond? Who has that responsibility?
Yes. So, well, okay. It's kind of complex because some of Union City, the fire hydrants are not City of Atlantis. And so they're
we're in City of South Fulton. We're on
yes. And so this what I'm trying to say, inside the city limits, the fire hydrants belong to the City of Atlanta. Outside of the city limits, the fire hydrants do not belong to the City of Atlanta. And so that prompted me to, there needs to be, additional information will need to be confirmed before answering that question. But because when you say South Fulton, right away that says to me that that fire hydrant is not owned by the City of Atlanta. So so Watershed would not be responding to that damaged fire hydrant.
Okay, when you say it's not, so who does it belong to? Because we were part of unincorporated Fulton County before we became City of South Fulton.
Yes.
So who is responsible for the maintenance of for example, if there's a leak in the line, then who's responsible for it? And because the Watershed has been responding to it.
Great question. Yeah, that will be the City of South Fulton, but there will need to be some additional information gathered before that answer is concrete. So you can just call our ATL 311, initiate a request to look into the hydrant that you're referencing, and one of our representatives will be able to confirm if that hydrant belongs to us or if it belongs to the City of South Fulton. My initial thoughts are it's more than likely the hydrant belongs to the City of South Fulton.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. I think that is a question that will be getting directed to Mr. Valenzuela. And that's our Director of Public Works.
Okay, Jane, did you have a question? If Jane still has a question, She should go, and then Miss Glenda Collins was next, if you still have a question.
I'm good. I'm okay. Thank you. I'm okay. No question.
Okay, Miss Collins, are you back on the call? It looks like she dropped off, and I just let her back in. Give her a second to come back. Oh, if anyone else has a question in the meantime, is there anyone else who has a question? Looks like she's having a hard time getting back on.
So, okay, this is Jane. Okay.
Go ahead.
So, so when I first came on, it sounds as if you all were talking about our water infrastructure and if it's protected, I believe, because of all the other stuff that's going on. So I think that's what y'all were talking about. It being protected, like the water and making sure, you know, that it can't be tampered with or somehow. Is that what we explained? Mr. Gaines?
I think that was a question asked as relates to if the blasting that is occurring in the area of the Sable Run, if the results of the blasting, if that has infiltrated our underground water line. And I answered that question by saying no. Our water line, the city of Atlanta's underground infrastructure is protected.
Yeah, okay, I caught that part. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's Ms.
I believe there's a question in the chat.
Miss
Can-
Collins, oh, I'm sorry.
You want me to go ahead and read the question? It said-
Actually, yeah, let Miss Collins go first.
Okay.
She has her hand up. Miss Collins, go ahead.
Yes, my question is, when they do this blasting, is there a log kept? And if the pressure falls when the blasting does occur, is all that notated?
So I can speak from the city of Atlanta's side. We have a group that is responsible for monitoring the water pressure throughout our service area. We actually have 120 miles of service area. We have the pressure being monitored 24/7. Now, as it relates to blasting and logs being kept as relates to that blasting is not being done by anyone from the city of Atlanta. So I can't answer a question as relates to blasting and what records they are keeping. But yes, we on the city of Atlanta Department of Watershed side, we are monitoring our water pressure throughout our 120 mile service area, 24/7 a day.
And the reason I asked that question is because I know someone that lives in that area, and they had a problem with their washing machine line, and it was because of dirt that had gotten in the line and tore up the washing machine because of the blasting over at the rock quarry.
I can only speak.
And the reason, that's why I asked if there was a log kept to monitor this. And when the blasting does occur, does the pressure go down? But you're saying that everything is, there is no log, and you also make sure that you check these lines frequently for the pressure.
Yes. So what I'm saying is almost like I can put it this way. An air traffic controller, their job, they're monitoring all the flights and all the routes. We actually have a team that is monitoring our water pressure, almost like an air traffic controller, 24/7.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Brandy, if you want to go ahead and read the question in the chat, that's fine.
All right. Excuse me. The question in this chat says, can Atlanta Watershed Department make arrangements to do the test to confirm and provide documents to homeowners about possibility of settlement in water due to the blast?
I can't speak about settlements because settlement, to me, settlement means that there is a confirmed analysis that reveal the entity is responsible for the results. To my knowledge, no assessment have been completed to confirm that the city of Atlanta has caused any personal damage to anyone's property. However, the city of Atlanta, not Watershed, but the city of Atlanta, there's a mechanism in place. Anytime business owner, homeowner, citizen would like to file any claim against the city of Atlanta, there is a mechanism for that. And now, and also the other component to your question about having a test done, any address, if there's a request for water to be tested at your personal location, please dial out ATL 311, submit that request about your location only. The ATL 311 representative will triage and direct that request to our team that is responsible for performing the test for your home. They will indeed give you the results of that test.
Okay, is your question answered, Ms. Collins?
Yes, he answered it. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Ms. Williams, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. And then Ms. Williams has her hand up.
Well, let me take this point of privilege here and just interject real quick. As when we talk about the testing of the water, I did a couple of adoptive streams, and in that process, the certification comes with able to test people's water. So it actually gives an individual a skill set as well with the certification. And so, and I know Going Green Communities can test your water as well. And Girl Scouts Troop #3802 can also test your water. And they're locally here to serve you as well as 311 if you need somebody independent as well for verification. And I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that for sharing it with the group. Thank you.
Okay, great. So this is Jane. Okay, so I got a two-part question. So when I run my water in my tub, the hot water runs brown. So I guess maybe I need to get mine tested too. But all my other water runs clear.
Great. You know what? You said something very key, and I'm going to speak from personal experience, okay?
Okay.
Hot water brown, that is an indication that there's rust on the bottom of your hot water tank. That is the first indication that your hot water tank is getting ready to fail. That's the first indication. Brown hot water, that's an indication that your hot water tank is rusting at the bottom. And that is your first symptom that you need to replace your hot water tank. Now, it'd have been different had you said your cold water is brown. Then that means the cold water coming in from our main is brown. But hot water, that means the bottom of your water tank is rusted, and that's the brown water that's coming in. And I've actually had to change out two separate water heaters on my first home from that. So.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that, because when I called 311, they told me something else, but that's not important. I appreciate that. I had it checked. And also, so the water meter, yeah, I guess it's your meter out here that they read when they come, you know, to give you your bill, right? So a few months ago, someone came to my house and said that, you know, their water was off. Well, I went up the street and we were checking to see where the meter was, where the meter was covered with dirt. We had to like dig it out in order to get to the meter. So my question is, do they like check your meter every month, or how do they send you your bill?
Great question. Great question. Back in approximately 1994, electric, gas, and water transition from manually reading water, gas, and electric meters. The utility companies moved into a technology with radio frequency devices attached to your gas meter, attached to your power box, and attached to your water meter. Each meter has its independent identifier. And so the utility companies, they load up those individual ID numbers and they read those meters based upon driving down the street. There's a device in the vehicle that sends out a signal to those associated identifiers and retrieves the reading back. The days of people physically walking, reading meters, that ended about 1994. And I speak from experience. I fed my family by reading gas meters for about 5 years. So yeah, that's
Okay.
old technology there.
All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Elsa again. I have a quick question.
Okay, sure.
So does the age of the water heater, does that makes a difference? Because I had one replaced. My mom, she just now pointed out to me that she states that, you know, the water is not as hot as it used to be. So is it the age of the water heater that changes that temperature as it ages? You know, because again, she was emphasizing it's not as hot as it was before. So does that have anything to do with the actual age of the water heater?
I would actually recommend that your mom contract a plumber
Okay.
to come out to perform an assessment of the water heater to give
Okay.
her the results. There may be a faulty part, but
Okay.
yes, have someone to check out the actual functionality of that water heater.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I believe we have someone from the Sable Glen community on the phone, Mr. Farrell. Did you want to speak about an issue you all were having over there?
No, I'm in Civil Chase, ma'am.
Oh, you're in Sable Chase. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, there's no problem. I mean, I think, you know, some of the residents have just definitely stated some of the same things. I mean, now I can honestly say that I've replaced my water heater because it went out probably about 2 years ago. But periodically we have had, you know, no matter what, you know, some brown water, especially more so when we noticed probably during the summer months when it was raining a lot, and then it would stop. But you know, it's not a frequent occurrence. And then I want to add, if I'm not mistaken, the rock quarry is in the city of College Park, so that would and you know, Corey and I have had a little brief conversation about that recently, just discussing that in the future, because I'm sure it's impacting others Because I know I had a biggest, that's side, but a split, my house shook like last week when I was working from home, and I live at the base of where I reside, in my community. So it was a good mile away. So, but I think, that's good information in regards to that issue. But I guess only other question I would have for the gentleman, Mr. Gaines, would be, as far as the infrastructure here, I mean, these two communities, Sable Glen and Sable Chase, are 20 plus years old. And then of course we have others such as Feldwood and things of that nature that are probably, considerably older. What is the city's plans to replace that outdated infrastructure? Let's be honest, the city's been under a mandate from the federal government for at least 20 something years to replace all the old infrastructure within the city. So.
Great question. So as you reference mandate from federal government, more specifically, that mandate, it targeted the sewer side. In the city of Atlanta, we did complete sewer infrastructure replacement under previous mayor Shirley Franklin. As of today's date, we're not under any consent decree from the federal government as relates to our drinking water infrastructure. We have replaced our entire sewer infrastructure, but we have not replaced our entire drinking water infrastructure. I would have to defer that question to the plans from our watershed commissioner and with the mayor's office as relates to if there are any immediate plans to replace the drinking water infrastructure.
Okay, was your question answered? If so, Mr. Denton has his hand raised.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No problem.
How you doing?
Great.
Very good. Yourself?
Good. My question, I heard you mention about the water meters being electronically read or something to that nature. I can state for a fact that my water meter doesn't have any kind of device on it. I know that when they had contractors out here laying the fiber lines for AT&T in my subdivision at some point, the contractors actually broke the line at the meter. So they had to replace the line because of a leak that they caused. My particular meter is actually in a weird place. It's right by the fire hydrant, but it's not accessible above ground. So don't know how that happened. But
do you mind giving me your address, sir? Sir, I would like to answer your question. Do you mind giving me your address? And I will provide the electronic ID number while we're on the call.
He looked like he dropped down. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now, sir.
All right. It's 205 High Tide Circle.
High Tide. 1 second.
In the meantime, I'd like to ask anyone who has their name hidden, if you would go ahead and disclose your name. We have an iPhone on here. I would like if you would disclose your name for us, please.
High Tide Circle, right, Mr. Denton?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The electronic device that we have assigned to your water meter, serial number 155-17-88676. There is indeed an electronic radio frequency device assigned to your water meter that is on your property, sir.
Okay, if you say so.
Oh, well, I'll put it like this right here. We no longer have employees to walk and read meters. And so the only way for you to get an invoice every month is from the radio frequency read. And I'm speaking from what and to be transparent, we actually replaced that register December of 2018.
Okay.
So we sent a person out there to put a new register on. I'm sorry, let me say, we sent one of our employees to your home and then replaced the radio frequency device December 13th of 2018. So someone physically put a new device on your meter.
Okay. But the thing is, the meter is not accessible above ground like normal water meters are.
Yes, sir.
With a lid.
Yes. And so the radio frequency is able to send us a signal without it being above.
Okay.
To take it a step further, there are some commercial locations where the meter is in a vault that could be 6 to 10 feet deep. And the radio frequency is able to send us a signal from that depth.
Okay.
Mr. Washington, I have a question for you. To follow up back on what you were saying earlier about you don't know if any plans are to replace the drinking water lines. Just for edification for the public and for me, what would that process be if the city of Atlanta was to replace the drinking water throughout the 120 service delivery miles?
Great question.
And what would that cost be? And what would a timeline be? Now, I know that I'm not saying that holding you to it, but just at a best guess.
Well, first of all, I'm not in any position to give you any costs. So just to kind of give you some historical information, when the federal consent decree was, the previous federal consent decree on the sewer side was put in place, the city of Atlanta, we actually hired a third party to perform an analysis on the cost to replace all of this sewer system. And that cost was indeed presented before city council in legislation. As a result of those, as a result of that project being approved, the city of Atlanta had to finance that actual project. So part of that project being financed, there were several rate increases presented to our customers to allow us to pay for the loan to have that done. Now, with that being said, to be transparent, our water and sewer rates are one of the highest within the country because of that major infrastructure replacement that we took upon years ago. Now, I am aware that DeKalb County, they're in the middle of doing a sewer line replacement. I have no knowledge of their total cost, but to answer your question, if there was a decision to take upon a capital improvement plan to replace the drinking water, then that, if that was the decision, then our commissioner will summons the assistance of a third party to perform a detailed analysis as relates to the various diameters of the different piping that we have underground, and to give us a cost assessment on what that type of project will cost to complete. And then our commission will then have to convey that to city council for recommendation on the path forward. But there are several steps to be able to get to that point. And unfortunately, I'm not in any position, nor do I have the knowledge to give you any costs associated with that.
Absolutely. Well, I do thank you for that. And you said that the the sewer group, right? That was under consent decree.
Yes, yes,
Is
it
that
was.
still ongoing?
No, we completed that, sir.
Y'all have completed that.
Yes.
How long was that process?
It was way before my time. So I believe it was it started in the 90s and ended early 2000s.
Okay, roughly about 10 to 15 years.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, as we're nearing the end of our call, if there are any final questions for Mr. Gaines, please let us know immediately. But we'd like to thank you, Mr. Gaines, for being here. You've been a great resource for us here today. And we really, really appreciate you for being here. Are there any additional questions for Mr. Gaines? If not, I do want to let you all know that we've also contacted CSX, GFL, and the mayor, and we don't have any confirmed dates, but those calls are coming up soon, hopefully. We have a Black History Month book drive going on where we have boxes located at every City of South Fulton fire station. They're either outside the door or inside the door. You can knock or ring the doorbell to ask the firemen to let you in and drop off your diverse children's books, books that are by or featuring Black characters for African American characters for Black History Month. That's pretty much it right now. It looks like we just got a question in the chat. Is there a fee charged to the COSF for water service? Mr. Gaines?
CFX, city, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, City of South Fulton. Is there a fee charged to City of South Fulton for water service?
Not a fee charge to the City of South Fulton. I would say that the sewer charges are billed by Fulton County. Fulton County tasked the City of Atlanta to invoice the owners of this that lives within the City of South Fulton. Fulton County asked us to bill their sewer charges on a monthly basis for them. And so we actually charge and collect the sewer fees for Fulton County and send those funds received to Fulton County. But we do not charge the City of South Fulton any independent charges as relates to each residential homeowner. I can say that the City of South Fulton, they currently have several accounts with Watershed that we are charging the City of South Fulton independently, because there are some areas within the City of South Fulton that are being serviced by a master meter where we do not have our underground infrastructure in that area, and those lines are owned by the City of South Fulton. So yes, in the case where the City of South Fulton distribute the water to certain areas, yes, we charge the City of South Fulton independently based upon the master meter that is at that area. But for homeowners that it lives within the City of South Fulton, where there's City of Atlanta owned water meters, no, we do not charge the City of South Fulton an additional cost after we bill those independent homeowners. Hopefully that answered your question, but there's variations to that question.
Okay. Though that was great. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaines. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're free to dismiss yourself if you're ready to go.
Hold on. Mr. Gaines, yes, I want to say thank you for that as well. And thank you for taking time out of your day to come on. And for
Absolutely.
the people who came on late to the call, could you give them again your title?
Yes, my name is Benjamin Gaines. I'm the Director of Field Operation of Watershed. And my team, we handle all of the repairs and the operation at the water meter. My team, we are responsible for all new construction, where we install new water meters for residential, commercial, and multifamily.
Absolutely. And for any exclusive for the people who have took time out of their day to join the call as well, do you have a direct number to your administration?
Yes, so we utilize our ATL 311 to actually triage our calls. You may reach them at 404-546-0311.
Is that 0811 or 0311?
I'm sorry, excuse me, 08. No, I'm sorry, long day.
Okay.
404-546-0311.
Okay, 0311. And I'll drop it in the chat really quick too.
Okay.
Right. And so that's the system y'all use to triage. But
Yes.
will we get any exclusive to get direct access to your administration if anybody on this call wanted to have an issue?
Yeah, so we are, to be transparent, we're probably 30 days away for opening up our internal call center that will be manned by Watershed employees to help us to provide a service to all of our customers. And as we make that transition, that number will be made available on our City of Atlanta website.
Mr. Gaines, I tell you, thank you so much for your presence here today. And thank you for your time as extending your day as you didn't have to, but for the constituents of the city of South Fulton, we thank you, sir.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Thank you. Yes, this was very good. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank all y'all who made it possible.
Am I able to be heard?
And ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, with that, it is 7:31. Chris,
Hold
go ahead
on.
Somebody
with
has
your
a question.
Hold
I-
on.
Councilman
a
Reed,
question.
somebody have a question.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry to wait until late. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Who's
can.
that?
Okay, this is
Ferguson,
Carmen Ferguson.
Carmen.
And I tried to put something in the chat part. I'm not sure if who's responsible for this. And I know Mr. Reeves knows I'm getting ready to ask something difficult, but I replaced my pipes that lead from my sewer pipes that lead from my home to the street with the required PVC pipes, but I still have the pipe that is in front of my house at the curb, not on my property, but at the curb that leads to the main pipe in the middle of the street. I hope I'm explaining this properly. That pipe, which has not been replaced, continues to be breached. If a tree or any kind of debris gets in there, which backs up my sewer line, which comes into my home. City of South Fulton came out and said, yes, we see where it needs to be repaired or replaced with, they had the old cast iron piping in there, and they said it needs to be replaced. However, they wanted me to pay for it at the cost of $2,900. And I said, well, do you have an installment plan that I can at least pay for it over a period of time of 12 months or whatever? They said they used to have one, but they decided that because some people weren't paying it, that they didn't offer that anymore. And I think that's a little ridiculous. But as a senior citizen and a 40+ year resident, I cannot imagine that a big city like this can't have some kind of, or reinstate an installment plan for someone to pay for something like that. I mean, I don't have $3,000 just to give out at one time. And Mr. Reeves knows that I've been dealing with this problem now for several years. I'm frustrated. I don't know where to turn. I don't know. I know what the city says to me is that, oh, even though it's not on your property, you're responsible for it because it's in front of your property, which is ridiculous. But even so, if I am responsible, why can't a plan of installment be worked out so that it would make it easier for anybody, but especially a senior citizen retired from Fulton County government? And I just threw that in. Why can't they look at doing something about that to really service, our community? Or even look at some infrastructure money or something. I'm frustrated. I don't know where to go from here, and I would like some direction, please.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ferguson. Unfortunately, as a representative of the City of Atlanta Department of Watershed Management, and I'm not for sure if you were on the call when I addressed this, but the sewer infrastructure in your area, those lines are not owned by the City of Atlanta. Therefore, I'm not in any position to respond or provide any advice on how you should go about having those lines or having the issue corrected. The sewer lines for your area, those lines are owned by Fulton County. And so I would recommend that you contact Fulton County Public Works Department to be able to help answer your question.
Thank you.
Yes, and Ms. Ferguson, yes, ma'am.
I've
Please.
been through all of that, but
Yeah,
thank
right. That's Mr. Clark and all. And so, Ms. Ferguson, I just trust and believe this is not a mute issue, as we're working on something. And you said something too with ARC funding to and then with the senior services as well. So all hope is not lost, ma'am.
Well, thank you. I would appreciate some resolution because it's a health hazard and it's uncertain whenever it's going to break, and all of my downstairs just gets damaged, and I have to pay to get all of that redone each time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Ferguson, do a GoFundMe and see if you can get the money. They put it out there for everything else. We might be able to get you $3,000 up to get it done.
I wouldn't dare do that.
I mean, they do it for everything else. I'll contribute.
I know. Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Miss Sheila? That's absolutely not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'll contribute. Do a GoFundMe.
Oh, well. I want not just for me, but I want this to be a service for all of the citizens, especially seniors. And so, I'm obviously want it done for me because it's affecting me and my family. But I think it's something that they need, especially when I was told, oh, we used to have installment plans, but people didn't pay like they should. So we cut that out. I mean, that was just quite insulting to me. As
right.
40+ year resident, tax-paying of Fulton County. It was very insulting. But
and a former employee.
Yes, sir. I retired.
And not only that, they said they cut it out 20 years ago.
Yes.
But they have a senior services.
Well, you have to almost be living off of dog food to qualify. And I'm being facetious, but I'm being honest. Whenever they say senior services, you almost have to have little to no income to qualify for things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Ms. Ferguson. And I'll be in touch. As we have one more hand up, I see Candia Perry.
Yeah. Hello? Can everyone hear me? Yes, go ahead, Ms. Perry.
Okay, I apologize. I'm in the car, so I've got some others with me, so I'm trying to keep things low. But my question was, is, I'm a homeowner and resident at Camelot Club, and right now we're dealing with an extremely large water bill. Once we get that taken care of, would the water company, Atlanta Watershed, be able to help us put individual meters on the units, or would you all be able to point us in the right direction for the service to a service that would provide that at the most or the least expensive, show us the least expensive route to go, or no?
Well, I would like to be able to provide some guidance. And so it all depends on which route the homeowners elect to go, which one is feasible. The first piece I would say to you, you have to take under consideration the main artery, the water line that is feeding throughout your community. That main artery, that line is not owned by the city of Atlanta. So in order for the city of Atlanta to build in order for the city of Atlanta to invoice those individual homeowners, that artery, that main water or artery feeding throughout that community would have to be a line that is owned by the city of Atlanta. So the community will have to either make a decision to transfer that existing line to the city of Atlanta, give us that infrastructure. We will have to do our due diligence to inspect that infrastructure to see if that line in its existing state is worth us taking the risk of assuming that existing artery, or to invoice to you, make the recommendation of what it would cost for the community to ask the city of Atlanta to install its own independent water line. Now that is on the far extreme. What may be more economical for the homeowners, because I'm taking it as though there is a master meter feeding that entire community. More than likely, that master meter is being paid for by the city of South Fulton. The city of South Fulton can elect to install individual sub-meters, and they can elect to hire a third party to read those sub-meters on a monthly basis and invoice each homeowner based upon their independent usage on that sub-meter. So there are two components, the existing water line, the existing artery can be proposed to be given to the city. The city will have to make a decision if that infrastructure, if that underground artery meets our standards for us to accept that underground artery. And then if not, the city will be more than willing to disclose or share what would need to take place for the community to ask the city of Atlanta to install its independent line. But first and foremost, if your community is being fed by the city of South Fulton, the city of South Fulton have first right to that line because that line belongs to them.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you so much. I never knew it would be that detailed or until a process like that. I thought it was just a matter of, hey, we contact the water company and say, hey, we're going to go to sub-metering for each unit, and that was it. So thank you. I didn't realize that.
Yes, no problem. You're welcome.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 7:43, and I do like to start on time and end on time. And because I respect everybody's time and you taking out time of your day to join this call and to get this great information. Mr. Gaines, you have certainly been a treat and certainly been informative. And if anybody has future questions as follow-up, please do not hesitate to reach out to our offices, and we will get you the answers that you asked for. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we bid you a good night.
Very well.
Councilman Reeves.
Thank you.
Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
Councilman, Jill Lindsay did come on the call. Can we invite her to our next Monday call, please, since she didn't get a
Oh,
chance today?
she's already been invited and accepted, ma'am. And so I look forward to that as and to our Miss Jill Lindsay and her new position, public advocate. And so she will be on with us next week to speak about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And
good
to
night,
all, have a good
everyone.
evening.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Night, thank you. Congratulations, Jill.